So before I get started on today's project, I just wanted to show you guys a couple different options that you guys can use for the molding, either on your sign or, as I'm going to show you in just a few seconds, using molding on your walls. You can use all three of these in different places. Here I have used the 3/4 of an inch, which is the same one I'm going to be using in today's project. And I used the 1/2 inch one to achieve this look. This was my first project. I know it was a lot, but I was determined and I didn't really use a tutorial. I just kind of saw a picture on Pinterest and tried to achieve that same look by measuring everything out. Here's another project that I did using the 1/2 inch molding, and this was here in my entryway. This thicker molding up here, which is about 1.5 inches, I used on my wall in my guest room / movie room, and that is the same one. It's just, of course, on the wall it's painted, but just showing you guys, how it looks with thicker molding here on the wall. The things that you will need if you're doing it on the wall will be this caulking and these nails. Those are pretty much the only things that I used in addition to what I'm going to do today to add to the wall, and a leveler, because you do want to make sure your lines are straight. So apart from those things, these are the things I used for today: the miter box, the molding, of course, of your choice, and a saw such as this one. This saw is the wrong saw. That one's too big. This is the saw that I used. It's finer. This saw has two sides, as I'm showing you now, and those teeth are too big. These are finer teeth, so use that one so that you get a cleaner cut. So now I'm just going to measure out the length that I need. On the wood signs, I don't use a measuring tape. On the walls, I do. But here, I just mark it because it's easy. It's a smaller project. And so I draw a straight line on the top side. Place your molding how you want it. There's always usually a thicker side, and the thicker side goes on the outside. So that's where I'm marking, on the thicker side, as you can see there. And because I have it there in place of my sign in that corner, I'm just drawing kind of a guide so I know which way to cut, so I don't go mess up and cut the wrong way. So I need to go at that angle. Every angle that you cut needs to always go in. So as you can see, I just drew the marking. That's not exactly where I'm going to cut, but it's just a marking so I know where to go. The marking that I'm using is the one that I placed on the outside. Do whatever works for you. If whatever marking, if you want to mark it exactly where it is, but you pretty much just need to use that top point where I initially first showed you guys on the outside, on the thicker part. That's the line that you want to start at because you're going to go in. So as you just saw, I just cut it. It's very simple. It's super simple, actually. And here I have my top piece. And so what I'm going to do next is just cut the other side just to connect it. As you see, the angle goes in towards the middle of the sign, and there you can see that's a no-no. That would be the wrong way. So I'm going to show you guys how to measure that side going down so that it can connect properly to the top part. So here I go. I'm making my mark. That straight line is where I'm going to place it on where I'm going to begin my cut, actually. And there I just drew a line going down because, I want it to connect to the other side. If you need to, place your top one that you just cut there so you can see, but you don't want to mess up. So using that guide has helped me. So there's a close-up right there, and the straight line is the line that I'm going to begin cutting at. Again, the angled line is just a guide. It's not where I'm going to begin cutting. It's just a guide as to which angle I need to go with. So placing it here, you do want to place it against the wall of that miter box and hold it firmly so that it doesn't move and you get a clean cut. You don't mess up your angled cut, and it should line up perfectly once you put it next to, or line it up with your other molding that you're going to place. So now I'm just taking these two pieces, making sure they line up perfectly, and you can either put them on the edge like that, as I'm going to do for today's project, or you can pull it away from the edge and create a different look. So Whatever look you guys are going for, get creative with it, see what you like. But this is the look that I was going for. Again, I did have to record this separately because I didn't record how I cut the actual molding, and I was trying to take pictures, but I didn't have my little tripod. So here you see the molding that I actually did on the wood sign that I used. I did pre-stain this because I was going to do this project long ago and I wasn't 100% sure on what I was going to do with it yet. So you don't have to stain it, you don't have to paint it or anything before. You can do it all after. So once all your pieces are all cut out and you've lined them up perfectly, just go ahead and glue them down. I used the Elmer's wood glue, as you can see here, and to hold it in place, until it dried, I placed just heavy objects, which was like a paint can and some letters that I had, some wood letters, to hold it down. So because I mentioned wall moldings, I didn't show this one yet, but this was in my garage and we created a chalkboard, and yeah, it's kind of messy, so pardon the mess, but if you are doing it on the wall, you are going to use the nail, so don't forget you're going to use the nail so you won't have to worry about it staying in place with just the glue. So after it's all glued, you're going to use wood filler, or you can also use caulking. Some people use caulking as well to get in the cracks of the points that you brought together. And just to give it a cleaner look, it, fills in all the cracks, and you just, once it dries, which is a couple minutes, then you just sand it down. And I just used fine sandpaper to sand it down. So next step is to stain everything. This is the stain that I used, and I went ahead and just stained the actual molding because, as I mentioned, mine was pre-stained, but your project probably won't be, so just go ahead and stain everything at this point. And this is how it looks. Once it's stained, you're welcome to leave it like this, and you actually could do white letters to make it pop, or, whatever. If you have a lighter stain, you can do black letters, whatever you're going for, whatever look you're going for. This is your project that you can do and tailor to, your decor or whatever look you're trying to achieve for wherever you're going to place the sign. So I decided to paint over this, and the reason I stained it darker underneath is because I'm going to sand it down and let that dark come through. I didn't want the light to come through. I wanted the dark to come through since I have some dark things in my house, accent pieces in my house. So here you see I painted it. I used Annie Sloan chalk paint. I had old white. Everything for this project I already had, so if I would have had pure white, I probably would have painted it pure white, but this is old white, and so I did a couple coats. I sanded it down using a medium sandpaper, medium grit sandpaper, and if you need to sand it more after you do your letters, then you're welcome to. Whatever look you're going for, again, it's your project. So once the paint dried and then I sanded it down, I'm now doing my letters. These letters, I actually didn't know what I was going to do yet with the project, but I ended up Mod Podging everything. And so I just cut out the letters, printed them out on regular printer, cut them out, and then placed them on there, Mod Podged it, and this is how it looks. This is it wet, and so you can still see kind of the streaks of the Mod Podge, but you just let it dry a couple times. And I actually end up Mod Podging the whole thing to seal it. Since I used chalk paint, it needed to be sealed, and so I sealed it with a Mod Podge, and it worked out perfectly. Everything looks good. I put Mod Podge under the letters, and then I put Mod Podge over the letters. And so this is still unfinished because I wanted it to have, the letters have a distressed look, but because it was paper, I just went ahead and used a dry brush with a little bit of paint and kind of brushed on some paint, as you are about to see. You can see the letters are really dark, and again, I couldn't distress them with sandpaper because that would completely ruin everything. So there it is. I put some paint on the dry brush and just dabbed most of the paint off, and so there was just a little bit so that I wouldn't get big globs once I used it on the actual letters. But there you can see I had started this process, and I just took it, brushed it over brushed it through the letters. This is how it looks. And I'm just going to show you really quick just the technique that I guess I used. This is all something that I just, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I'm just doing this on the fly. So this is how it looked, and it came out great. It gave it a distressed look with that little bit of paint adding to the letters if you guys do decide to Mod Podge like I did. But it looks wonderful. I was actually extremely happy with the outcome and completely shocked because I didn't expect to Mod Podge the letters on. I was actually going to try to hand kind of trace them on there and then hand paint them. But this was just so much easier, and it looks, to me, just the letters look perfect because they're printed, and all I did was cut them so I didn't have to worry about me messing up. And so this says Le Chateau de Richard. Richard's our last name. And so, you can personalize your sign or print something out, whatever you're going for. But I'm happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Really hope it helps you guys to achieve the looks you're going for. Remember, you're not limited to putting molding on the sign, but also on your walls. As I showed you before, you can get beautiful looks with molding. So I hope you guys are inspired. Hope this video helps you. I will be coming out with another tutorial when I do my wall molding in another room. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, peace and love.